Are you ready? What's up, y'all? Hump Day Wednesday, all up in your area. Well, I know for a lot of y'all, it's not Wednesday yet. I mean, it's not. Well, on the East Coast, it's already Thursday because it's after midnight. For the Midwest, it's Thursday because it's after midnight. But in the, in the what do they call it? Mountain time, and on the West Coast, y'all still on Wednesday, and we still on Wednesday because this is Wednesday's show. It's the Daily Go Getimism Show. I'm your host, Sun752. And on this Hump Day, Wednesday, the 7th of February, Black History Month, all up in your area, we are talking about trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do. Trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do. Is trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do the same as trying to forgive somebody for what they did do? Let me explain. Y'all know I gotta give the explain. I mean the explanation. You know I gotta do it. When we talk about forgiveness, we're normally talking about something that somebody did to us. We're normally speaking about something bad, something that wasn't right, something that was incorrect, some kind of injustice that was perpetrated against us. So, if a friend was a bad friend and they set you up in a bad way for you to be hurt or for you to be, uncomfortable or something like that, that may be a situation that requires forgiveness. But it's because they did something to you. Like maybe you asked them to do something for you and they did something to you. And maybe it was so bad that it didn't represent what a friend is supposed to represent, and it really, really torpedoed your trust factor in them and maybe in people in general. So when we're talking about something that somebody did, it may require us to forgive them. But what about when we're talking about what somebody didn't do? When we talk about what somebody didn't do, we're talking a lot about our expectations. Maybe we were expecting somebody to act in a trustworthy way. Maybe we were expecting somebody to be there in our deepest time of need. Maybe because of something that we had been through together, that we thought that somebody would come through, they would represent, they would, think about it. Is doing something and not doing something the same thing when it comes to forgiveness? And while we at it, let me ask y'all this. When was the last time that you had to forgive somebody? Because that might help us to put this whole thing in perspective. When was the last time? I mean, you don't have to put it in the comments if you don't want to, but just think about this for a second. When was the last time that you had to forgive somebody? Now, you know that if you had to forgive somebody recently or in recent memory, you know that you were probably angry, or you were probably upset, or you were probably disappointed, or you may have been sad because of something that they did. But what about when it's not about what they did, but what they didn't do? What about when it's about what they didn't do? They were supposed to do this. They were expected to do this. They were set up to do this, and they didn't come through. They didn't perform. They didn't pan out. They didn't prepare themselves. They weren't there. All right. Example number one. You may be talking about a parent that may have been abusive when you were growing up. This is just an example. Maybe your parent, your mom or your dad, or even both, maybe they were very abusive when you were growing up. Physically abusive and maybe mentally and emotionally abusive. So they weren't the type of parents that showed a lot of affection. No, I love yous. No, you're special. No, you're important. No, you're smart. None of those reinforcing things that you say to a child to to build their confidence and make them feel like they are worthy and special and important in life. When that happens, maybe your parents weren't good parents when you were younger, and as you got older, maybe they started getting better. Maybe they went to counseling. Maybe they saw the error in their ways. Maybe somebody checked them. Maybe there was a tragic event that happened to one or both of them that changed the way that they do things. Yo, what's going on? That's what's up, man. Thanks for coming through, Caleb, man. I appreciate you. He said, yo, you're finally my daily conversation. That's what's up, man. I feel you on that. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate you. Mucho. A whole lot. But yeah, so if you've had to forgive your parents because now they've changed, or maybe they didn't change. Maybe they didn't change, but you changed. Maybe because of the way that they treated you when you were younger, it made you stronger, and maybe you were able to get the help that you needed. Maybe you were able to get the love that you needed. Maybe you were able to get the attention that you needed, and the reinforcing, the compliments, the vote of confidence that they should have given you, but they didn't. Instead, they gave you insults. Instead, they put you down. Instead, they hurt you. They hit you. But maybe, in spite of all of that, you said, you know what? All right, you weren't very good parents. You didn't handle situations in a very good way. But you are my mom and you are my dad, and I love you regardless. So regardless of the way that you treated me when I was growing up, I still love you. And guess what? I forgive you. So let's say your parents got older and they got sick, and maybe because of the good heart that you had, the love in your heart, maybe you not only forgave them but took care of them and nursed them back to health, or stayed by their side and nursed them until they finally passed away, moved on, went to the upper room floor. Maybe. So that's what we talk. But hold on, there's more. So you may have had to forgive your parents for what they did to you because they were abusive. That's what they did to you. Is that different to you than if your parents weren't there? Let's say one or both of your parents didn't even raise you. Maybe they put you up for adoption. Maybe instead of putting you up for legal adoption, they just left you with your grandmother, left you with your auntie, left you with your uncle, left you with your older brother or sister, left you with your godparents, left you with a neighbor, left you with somebody except for them. So instead of raising you the way the parent is supposed to raise you, maybe they just came back to you after you were already grown, after they had already missed graduations, award ceremonies, victories in games that you played, or activities that you were involved in, like sports or after school extracurricular activities. Maybe you won a chess club, the science club. You won awards. You were smart. You were bright. You were one of the best. And they missed all of that. Because they were too busy doing whatever they were doing. Let's say they were on drugs, or let's say that they were laid up and following behind a love interest of theirs. They didn't have no time for you. So they didn't do anything to you, but guess what? They didn't do what they were supposed to do. Is that the same? If you forgive them, if you choose to forgive them, is that the same thing? When we're talking about the abuse that they showed towards you, we're talking about what they did to you. When we talk about the neglect, we're talking about what they didn't do. They weren't there in your formative years. When a child is growing up, they need the love, the guidance of their parents. And if their parents aren't there, then they have to try to get it from somewhere else. So if your parents weren't there, or one of your parents, there are a lot of single family houses out there, a lot of single families. So maybe your mom was there and she did the best that she could. She held it down. She took care of you. But maybe your dad wasn't there. And there could be a variety of reasons why he wasn't there. But he wasn't there. That's for sure. So your first grade, let's say your kindergarten graduation, when you're going to the first grade, elementary school, he wasn't there. When you graduated fourth grade and are going to middle school or junior high, he wasn't there. When you were on the football team or ballet or the chess team or basketball, soccer, lacrosse, whatever the activity was that you participated in and excelled in, they weren't there. Everybody else's dad was there. While you and your mom, maybe even your mom couldn't come to all of your activities because she had to work, because hers was the only income that was holding down the family, and perhaps she had other children besides you. So she had to work. So she couldn't come to all of your games. She tried. She came to the ones that she could make it to. Other than that, maybe she had to do overtime. Maybe she had a business of her own, whatever the case may be. She's not the one that you have a problem with. She's not the one that you have to forgive, because she did what she was supposed to do. She tried hard. But maybe your dad was too busy out there in the world. Maybe he was entertaining other kids that he had or didn't have by another woman or other women. Maybe he never came around. Maybe he never paid child support. Maybe he lived in the close vicinity of you, but you still couldn't reach him. Maybe. So with your mom, she did what she was supposed to do. But with your dad, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. So he didn't do anything to you, but guess what? He didn't do anything for you. He didn't do anything to you, but he didn't do anything for you. So is that the same forgiveness as an abusive parent who did things to you, to hurt you, to harm you, to damage you? Is that the same as forgiving a parent for not being there, not being around, not spending time, showing love, being present? Is it the same? So we're talking about trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do. And that was our first example. What do y'all think? Let's get this conversation started, man. This is the Daily Go-Getterism Show. I'm your host, Sun752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the well, then you just say Omar with the R. This is the Daily Go-Getterism Show, all up in your area. I'm feeling like a real man should, and I hope y'all feeling like real men and women should. Also, trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do. My man Caleb is all up in the house. Lynn is all up in the house. Lynn was here the other day. Good to see y'all, man. Thanks for coming through. And Caleb says, forgiving is tough, but as I see it, and in my opinion, it is very important to forgive in all we do, because Jesus forgave us when we didn't deserve it, when we messed up bad and unfortunately continue to. And he put in the Bible verse, Ephesians 4:32. I appreciate that. And it's true. It's true. Many of us have been taught to forgive for whatever reason, whether you're talking about forgiving somebody for what they did or forgiving somebody for what they didn't do. But tonight we're talking about trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do. You know, it's one thing to forgive a friend for being a bad friend, for doing you dirty, stabbing you in the back, talking about you badly to other people, spreading rumors about you, being jealous of you, and showing that jealousy and that envy. Maybe even causing problems and violence in your life, maybe interfering in matters of the heart with you and your significant other, because they may have been jealous of you and your significant other. See, that's forgiving a friend or anybody, maybe like a sibling or something like that. That's forgiving them for what they did. What about trying to forgive them for what they didn't do? For example, let's say someone close to you passed away. Someone close to you, like your mom or like your dad. You know how devastating it can be to lose a parent. You know how devastating it can be to lose a parent, or maybe a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or God forbid, you lost a child. You know how devastating it is for a child to precede you in death, for a child to precede a parent in death. You know that sends some people to the cuckoo farm. That'll get the Zoloft going, the Haldol, the Thorazine. So, what if you had a friend who wasn't a friend? So in your time of need and your time of sorrow, see, here's the thing. Maybe your friend was always a friend when it was time to go to a party, when it was time for them to need something, like they needed rides, or they needed to borrow money, or they needed you to be their wingman or something like that. They was always Johnny on the spot. They were always calling. They were always there. But what about when your time of need came along, and here you are wallowing in your grief and needing help just getting through funeral arrangements, processions, and you listen, if you've ever lost somebody close to in your life, and you've had to deal with funeral arrangements and the family, and it can get ugly and it can get nasty. And one thing you really need at that time, more than anything else, is support. You need somebody there who will hold it down for you, who will act as a buffer between you and people who might try to confuse you. You're going to need that. And maybe the friend or family member who was always there in the times when you didn't need anything wasn't there when you needed them the most. So when you needed them the most, you couldn't get them on the telephone. When you needed them the most, you couldn't get a ride from them. When you needed them the most, you couldn't use them as a resource. They weren't there. And maybe you feel like they weren't there on purpose. Well, they didn't do anything to you. But what they did do is what they didn't do. In other words, you may have to forgive them once the smoke clears for what they didn't do, because they wasn't there. You needed support and they weren't there. You needed love and they weren't there. You needed the good word and they weren't there. You couldn't find them. You could not find them until you didn't need them anymore. And then here they come, like nothing ever happened. Can you forgive them? Can you forgive them for not being there? Can you forgive them for not being a friend? Can you forgive them for what they didn't do? It may be hard. It may be really, really super tough to be able to jump into that forgiveness bag, but can you do it? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Hey, sometimes you might have to forgive yourself for not being able to forgive. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes you may have to forgive yourself for not being able to forgive somebody else. You know, praying to the good Lord above, like, God, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I feel dishonored. I feel betrayed. I feel neglected. I feel abandoned. And I feel like everything that was done or not done to me or for me was done on purpose. It feels like they were just waiting for me to be down before they showed their true colors. Speaking of showing their true colors, you know, I'm on social media a lot, and I hear people on social media. You read posts and tweets and whatever, and you see memes. And I came across this one meme, and it said, "You find out who your true enemies are when." Let's see. I want to get it right. They said that you find out who your true enemies are when you start to win, or when you score a victory, or when you succeed. That's what it said. You find out who your true enemies are when you succeed. In other words, you find out who's jealous of you. You find out who's envious of you. You find out who really wasn't in your corner, who have been pretending that they were in your corner when you succeed. So you got a bunch of money and you getting your shine on, and all of the spotlights are on you. And that's when you find out who was really jealous of you. Well, I look at it in a different way. To me, you find out who was really jealous of you when you fail. Let me explain. Because it's easy to get haters when you succeed, because a lot of people aren't going to think that you deserve the success that you achieved, or they're going to think that you didn't get it on your own, you didn't do it yourself. But when you fail, when you don't persevere, when you don't score, when you don't win, and you're down, and you're out, and you're hurting, and you're feeling bad, that's when you find out who was really jealous. Because they're going to come out just to see you down. Like, yeah, I knew one day it was going to happen. I knew one day it was going to be your downfall. I knew. They may even come around to act like they want to help you out. They may come around to act like they want to help you out, just so they can see you down. Like, look at you. You had a nice body, pretty face, handsome or whatever, and everybody was always on you. Everybody was always paying you all that attention. Everybody was always talking about how great you were. Look at you now. You don't look so good. But I'm here, and I'm only here to look at you as a failure. When you were successful, I didn't want to see that. I was too angry to come around and see that. But when you fail, oh yeah, I want a front row seat. I want a front row seat to see you fail. Is it the same thing? Is it the same thing? What do y'all think? By the way, hit the like button, y'all. Can we get some likes up in here? I know y'all in the background. Give me some likes. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. This is the Daily Go Getter Show. I am your host, Sun752, and we are talking about trying to forgive someone for what they didn't do, for what they did not do. That's what we're talking about tonight. Hey man, y'all jump into the comments. You know what I mean? Let's talk. We can get the back and forth going. Let's brainstorm. Let's see if we can find out what we can find out. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about what I was just talking about? Do you think that you find out your true haters, or the people that were jealous of you when you are successful or when you fail? What do y'all think? I think that you find out who was really in your corner and who really wasn't in your corner when you fail. I think the true haters come out to see you down, to see you hurt, to see you struggling. I think that your secret haters, they're gonna come out to see that. They may not have paid for a ticket to watch you win. They may not have paid for a ticket to watch you succeed, but I think that they will definitely pay top dollar to get in to see you down, to see you fail, to see you fumble, to see you crumble, to see you fall. They want to see. Yeah, you thought you was all that, didn't you? Well, look at you now. Look at me now. I'm doing good. You're doing bad. Before you was doing good, now you're doing bad. I'm doing good. Before I was doing bad. But I always deserve to do better than you, and now I'm better than you. Haters gonna come out. Caleb says the Lord the Lord gives righteousness and justice to all who are treated unfairly. Psalms 10, 10:1036. Or is that 10:36? Okay. The Lord is compassionate and merciful, slow to get angry, and filled with unfailing love. Psalms 10:38. Or is that 103.1038? I don't know. And Caleb also says a little bit of both. A little bit of both. There's definitely a little bit of both. I was just curious to know or to hear which one you think was stronger. Which one is a little stronger? I'm going with the failure one. Probably because I've experienced it, though. So I'm going to go with the failure one. Yeah, man, trying to forgive somebody for what they didn't do. You weren't there for me as a parent. You weren't there for me as a friend. You weren't there for me as a brother or a sister. You just weren't there. You didn't do what you said that you would do, or what we had done for and with each other in other times. You let me down. Can I forgive you? Caleb got me thinking about Bible verses and all of that. They say a sin is a sin, and no sin is greater than the other. Well, biblically, we can accept that. But here on earth, that two things are not the same. We got big sins and we got smaller sins. Like, I don't know, stealing a pack of gum out of the Walmart might be a little bit lower than, let's say, murder, rape, assault. It's not the same. The legal system definitely does not prosecute them the same way. And the penalty for both are not the same. Now, in God's way, perhaps they are the same thing. But I don't know. Trying to forgive them for what they didn't do. Trying to forgive them for what they did not do. You said you would be there. You said you would be my plug. You said you would be my hookup. You said I didn't have anything to worry about. And I did. You just left me hanging. Left me hanging by a thread. I'm on the tightrope with no net. And this is the first time I ever walked the tightrope. It ain't looking good. It ain't looking good, son. I don't know, man. I'm going to say this. Before we get into our birthday shout outs and start to get on up out of here. I'm going to say this. Everything is not a forgivable offense. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. I don't mean that it's so bad that you can't forgive them. But when for me, and this is just for me, I don't know if anybody else thinks this way or if it applies to anyone else's life the way it applies to mine. But there are some things that I'm able to get over with. I mean, get over pretty easily. Like, things that don't really hurt me or involve me. I'm if you've if you've committed a minor infraction towards me, like let's say I heard you say some derogatory things behind my back on a three-way line, or maybe, people have done things like forgot to hang up a phone call, forgot to press the red button on a cell phone and left the phone open, and the other person is still on the line and they're talking to somebody else thinking that they hung up the phone. And you may have heard them put you down or not talk positively about you or something like that. Now, a sensitive person is going to say, oh, they hating on me and they don't really like me. They don't really care about me. They're not really in my corner. And maybe to them, maybe they feel like I would have to forgive them for what they said about me or what they thought or felt about me. I would have to forgive them. Maybe somebody who is ultra sensitive would have to forgive them. For me, I wouldn't. That's not a forgivable offense. But what I mean is, I can just get past that. I can get over that. I can make the decision about whether I want to still be that person's friend, or maybe I want to change some things around about our friendship and our interaction because I have new knowledge of how they feel about me in the background. But that might not be a forgivable offense. It might not go into the category of needing to be forgiven. Maybe I can just move on from that. Maybe I can just go forward from that. Now, I know how you feel candidly about some things when it comes to me, but they might not have been totally terrible things. It's just that as friends, we never expect any friends to talk bad about us. But come on, we should really know better. We should know better. We know, like, for example, in certain things that we fuck up with, we know that other people know that we. Oh, as a matter of fact, what if you are a fuck up? A fuck up. You are the type of person that messes things up all the time. You're just a bumbling idiot. Well, maybe if you hear somebody say, like, yo, man, such and such always messing up. Every time they come around, things get messed up, things get chaotic, things get out of hand, things get confusing, things, just trouble starts when they come around. Well, you might not be able to forgive a person for talking like that, but they may have been talking the truth. And if you are a rational person, you may say, well, yeah, they didn't say it to me. They said it behind my back, but what they said had a lot of fact in it. And you might have to eat that. You might just have to eat that. It wasn't even really an insult. You mad at them because they were being honest about the way that they feel about the things that you do. Or maybe you drink or smoke too much or get high too much. And they spoke on it when they didn't think that you were around. So you heard them saying, well, such and such ain't nothing but a drunk, or they're an alcoholic, or they're a drug addict, or they do this too much or that too much. Yeah, well, you heard them say it and they didn't say it to your face. They said it behind your back, but what they said was true. What they said was true. So you're faced with forgiving them because they said it behind your back. But are you going to fix the problem? Because the problem that they were talking about is you. And perhaps you do drink too much. Perhaps you do get high too much. Perhaps you do be messing up things. Perhaps. Dorsky says, no, I'm sorry. Drosky says, which watch is that? This is a Samsung Active 2. See the face. It's the animated face. Samsung. You know, I shouldn't have advertised that for free. I ain't got no other endorsements though. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is the Samsung Active 2. Caleb says, "Hey, dude, I gotta wake up early tomorrow, and I just looked at the time, and I just saw it was 12:45 a.m. So if you're all right with it, I'm going to go to bed." Yo, man, I appreciate you coming through. I know it's hard dealing with these late nights, man. I do this show when I get home from work, you know, so I know what. So anybody who comes through and checks me out, it's just a blessing, and you are a blessing to me. Thanks for coming on through, man. So, you know, go ahead and get your rest. It's very important. Very, very important. Do your thing. And appreciate you. I hope I see you coming through on another night. We'll be here. No, man, this ain't no job for you. You can come and go as you please, man. You know what I mean? I just appreciate your participation. I just appreciate your participation. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, get your rest. Do your thing. Rock out. One love. One love. We're about to do these birthday shout outs, man, and get on up out of here. Before I do, make sure y'all hit the like button, y'all. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. This is the Daily Go-Getterism Show. I'm your host on 752. Let's do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious February 7th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-C. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-C. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-C. They get number one out the box, Michelle Simmons, turning 56 years old today, and also Anthony Trott, turning 65 years old today, and Beloved Blends, happy birthday to you, and Snow Taylor, turning 46 years old today, happy birthday to you, and Ro Charles, turning 46 years old today, also happy birthday to you, and Marvion Donegal, turning 54 years old today, and Blanche Byard, turning 72 years old today, and Lola Williams, turning 61 years old today, and Amanda Cruz Almonte, turning 32 years old today, and Rachel Mendoza, happy birthday to you, and Nikki Lyles, turning 57 years old today, and Angie B, happy birthday to you, and T. Janae, happy birthday to you, turning 31 years old today, and last but not least, my man Daryl, Mr. Get It Done James, Daryl, Mr. Get It Done James. Wait, he's not last but not least. We have more. Gregory Have D's, turning 54 years old today. And Michelle. Oh, no. Unfortunately, Michelle passed years ago. But posthumous happy birthday to Michelle Thomas. And also Miss Bossy Lady Bryant. And also Tiffany Bacon, radio personality in Philly. And last but not least, my girl Nicole Henry Webb. Nicole Webb Henry, turning 53 years old today. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious February 7th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up, but don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, the rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on, do the damn thing, you do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings, you do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And any, the anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And remember, man, when it comes to forgiveness, sometimes you have to forgive them for what they did, but a lot of times you have to forgive people for what they didn't do. They just didn't persevere. They didn't come through. They didn't represent. They did not live up to the expectations or the promise or nothing. What's going on, Al Parham? I'm coming through from Canada. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, sometimes it's about what they didn't do. And you can't take back what you didn't do. But you know what you can do? You can do what you didn't do before. It may be too late, but treat it like God, man, and be on time anyway. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all and love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow night for another Daily Go Get-Emism show. Yo, appreciate y'all coming through. Hit the like button, man. Share the show and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. And we're going to be up out of here. Thanks, y'all. Peace.